There was once a fool who said that the people who we love are the only ones who are loyal to us. However, this is not the case at all. In life, there are times when we love someone with all our hearts, but that individual does not have love for us, and he or she gives us the gift of cheating that no one could give us. Firstly, before we begin the story of my wife, I would like to suggest you to click on the bell and press the subscribe button so you will not miss a single story. The name of my ex-wife is Given, and she is 28 years old, while I'm 31 years old man, and I am the one who is in love with her. I worked as a freelance copywriter while my wife worked for a construction company where she was an architect. As a part of a project we met online, I was looking for a designer to create a house design for my client, and I found Given on the freelancing platform as a part of my search. At the beginning, it was all very formal. We discussed working together on various projects. We did not meet in the beginning, and then as the COVID era started, she lost her father and I became close with her. As a result of the death of her father, she was very upset at the time. She shared with me one day about the pain of losing her father, and I always tried to help her through it. I was not able to meet her due to the fact that I had COVID. It was a virtual relationship at that time, but I was aware that there was some chemistry developing between us at that moment. In the course of time, she felt something for me, which later led to her expressing her feelings to me one day. There was also some sort of attachment that I had to her as well. The two of us were desperate to meet each other as soon as possible. However, because of the lockdown in the whole world, we were not even allowed to go grocery shopping, so there was no way we could meet. There is only one thing we can do now, and that is to wait. We finally came to a point where circumstances were able to be controlled so that we had a chance to meet. In real words, we started dating when we met one another. The financial situation of both of us were stable, and we had no issues related to our finances. Therefore, from the point of view of money, we were satisfied with the outcome. Our fortune was to be able to meet one another, and I enjoyed spending as much as time with her as I could. During the first 1 year of our dating relationship, there was 1 year of COVID and 1 year after the COVID ended. After all that time, we were finally able to get married. There was no doubt that she was an amazing lady and that she was not like any other girl that I had ever met. I found her to be very accommodating as well as entertaining. In the course of our honeymoon, we had traveled a lot. There were many heartwarming memories to be cherished. At the beginning, my marriage was doing well, even though I did not have any idea about the storm that was coming or whether she was doing all this while thinking that it was okay to have an extramarital affair. Due to the fact that I was a freelancer, I worked from home most of the times. There is no need for me to go for the office or anything like that. For this reason, I have always remained at home in order to work. In my home, I have created a space where I am able to work as it is like my office. In the middle of working on a project one day, suddenly my phone beeped. I turn on my screen and see 3 nude pictures of her. She sends a message that says, "I feel wet because of you last night." At first I did not see the message, I just saw the picture, and then I read it, and it was strange to me that these pictures were from the last night in her lingeries. However, she did not wear it in front of me, and obviously I was her husband, so if she was feeling horny, we could have some sex. Despite this, she did not ask for anything, just came home, ate dinner, and then we went to bed afterward. It was late at night when I was working in my room for a long time. Then all of a sudden, I called her and asked her what had happened. Upon hearing my reply, she said, "What do you mean by what are you saying?" I replied, "Regarding the pictures that you sent me recently, I noticed that she took a pause of about 5 seconds, so I assumed that she was checking the chat, and she said, 'Yes, honey.' Due to the fact that I felt particularly horny late night, I did not disturb you while you were doing your work. At least you should tell me that what you need, at least because I'm obliged to satisfy all your needs, and I'm determined to do so." Initially, she said it was all right, then she said she had to attend a meeting, and then she cut the call. It did not notice her act at first and ignored it because I was working on a project that had to be completed in a timely manner, so I was extremely busy at that time. My 10 minutes were wasted on her messages. Whatever the case may be, I worked continuously for 4 hours and was able to complete the project. I went to bed to take some rest after this because the memory of Given's nakedness suddenly came back to me as I went to bed. As I started watching them, I noticed something in the pictures. It was the big digital clock placed on the table. This was showing about 9 p.m. at the time, so I started paying more attention to them. It strangely struck me that time because I had just gone to a different room for work about 8:45 that time. Before walking into another room, I was seated with her and talking to her. As I said earlier, she was lying to me. She came home again and I asked her why she did not tell me that time and why she sent me her nudes. There was a paleness to her face. I have the feeling that something is going on that she does not want me to know about. She replied, "Honey, I'm extremely exhausted at the moment." She walked out of the room and went to the washroom. This was the moment in which I felt like I did not know the girl with whom I was living because the feelings I felt came from the depth of my heart. There was a feeling that she was hiding something very important. In the same evening, she informed me that as a result of the help of one of her friends from another company, we had been able to get a project. Moreover, the project would prove to be a life-changing event in her life, as she perceived it to be. It felt good to know that she was doing well. It was because until I did not have idea about her infidelity. However, judging her by actions, it seemed as if she was nervous at that moment. It wasn't long before she started working until late at night. Occasionally, even though she worked late nights, she would go have dinner with officials, and I did not have any problems with this since she always made sure that I knew she was working in the office late night. I once went into her bedroom in the middle of the night so I could get my charger, and I discovered that she was sleeping. Because I knew that she had worked hard that day, I did not bother her while she slept that night. After a while, I went to another room where I was working and I continued working there for some time. After a while, I opened the WhatsApp Messenger application. I saw that she was online. During the course of a month and a half, it was another red flag that I received. It was with slight steps that I walked to the room. In a very low voices, that sounded like she was talking on a cell phone with someone. I changed from a doubt to belief about her in my mind. I was hoping that I would be wrong, but I had to find out about her, what exactly she was doing, so I decided to hire a hacker to help me with my problem. As soon as I found it, I hired him to hack her cell phone. I only did it for my own satisfaction because the incident of her nudes had stuck in my mind for a long time, although I was unable to help but feel disturbed by her behavior. I had ruined one of my client's projects because of her. For me, the hacker got the details of my wife's contact number so that he could hack her cell phone. On that day, she went to work early in the morning. He gave me all the details about her contacts within a few hours. Apparently, she had an affair with a man. In addition to that, they exchanged nudes as well. According to the hacker, it was possible that they had met, but there was no evidence that they had slept on her phone. Her secrets were revealed to me. The whole day was hell for me waiting for her. I was sitting in shock after I heard her truth. After sitting on the sofa, I was watching her. I was watching what she was going to do. I was thinking about what had happened behind me. What is the reason for her marriage to me if she was not interested in living with me? In my mind, I had a lot of questions, but I wasn't sure what should I ask since I was in a traumatized state at the time. She came home in the evening in a hurry and said she had to meet some of her clients for dinner that evening. My mood was not even noticed by her. As soon as he told me, she went to the bedroom, picked something up, and left. Seeing that she was in the room, I thought that I should track her to see if she was going to meet her fair partner while she was there. As soon as she left, I followed her. Firstly, she went to a restaurant where she saw a man with whom she was looking so much frank than before. They attended a meeting with a few clients and had dinner after the meeting when the clients left. Then after a while, Given and that man were seated there, and after drinking a few drinks, they went out of the restaurant. So I followed them as I was trying to catch her red-handed. If that man was the same man she had an affair with, she went to a hotel alone with that man. I was following her from a distance, keeping a close eye on her. Once upon returning, she looked behind her as if she had noticed someone approaching her from behind. Suddenly, however, she turned her attention to the room and entered it. A couple of minutes later, I knocked on the door with a lot of force. A man opened the door and I tried to go inside, but he stopped me before I could go to the room. I punched him and went into the room. Although she wasn't in the bedroom during that time, I heard a noise that sounded like someone was in the washroom. She suddenly came out of the washroom, and as she stunned by looking at me, I could see that she was wearing nothing but a nightie. In addition, her clothes were laying on the bed. As soon as she saw me, she started telling me that there was something wrong and that she could explain everything to me. I said, yes, but I would like you to explain to me who that guy is. How did you get here? Can you please tell me how you got here? In addition to the way you dressed at this particular time and night. According to her explanation, she was not willing to do that. Just because of a new project she had to work on, she had no choice but to do so. The man was a friend of hers who introduced to the project. As soon as the man came to me, I grabbed a bottle of champagne and smashed it into his head. With that champagne, there was a great deal of anger in my heart. It was impossible for me to control my emotions at the time. I was being constantly requested by Given that I leave him and not make a scene because I made a scene. It would ruin her career as well as her life. Do you still think that your career is more important than your loyalty to your spouse and your family, more than your career? I asked her. If you're a woman of kind who just slept with a friend for the sake of a project, I don't understand what kind of woman you are. As I said, you did not even think about me when your affair partner was discovered. I further said that you earn a handsome salary and lived a luxurious lifestyle, but still you broke my trust for the sake of a big break in your career. Have an answer for me? I said, I will never forgive you. You are such a bitch. She started crying, and without listening to her further, I grabbed her out of the room, and the whole staff saw the scene, what had happened to her. As she was still in the nightie, I shouted in the hallway of the hotel, this is my wife, and I found her with another man in the room. In a desperate attempt to stop me, she pleaded with me. Unfortunately, because of my emotional state, I wasn't able to think clearly about what I was doing, and the hotel management came and got us in the office. There was a request from them that we keep our shouting down so that people in the hotel will not be disturbed by our loud noise. I told Given that I was going to divorce her as soon as possible. After that, I left the office and went home. The next day, she came and did not talk to me at all. She just grabbed her stuff and left. The place where she lived was unknown to me, so I arranged divorce papers and sent them to her office. Thanks to the grace of God, I have been freed from the clutches of such a slut.